Hello, and welcome to episode 84 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always, I'm joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
And we are also joined by a very special guest this week, Ian Watson. Say hello. That's your cue.
I'm not saying hello to that.
Okay, so I'll do it properly. I'm also joined by Drummer Matt, whose pen name is Ian Watson.
Ugh.
Say hello.
I don't want to. Hello, but I'm not. My saying hello is not agreement with what you said.
Okay, sure.
Response is not endorsement.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, how are you lovely gents doing this fine, very warm day?
I'm okay. Everything is fine. It's nearly my birthday.
Yeah.
In fact, it will have been my birthday by the time you hear this podcast.
11th of August, the Christmas in August is what some people call it.
Namely me.
Namely him.
So yeah, I'm okay. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. It's good to be back. I've been away for a little while.
You have. We needed you to come back because we've had a Scotsman and an Irishman, so we needed the Englishman to come back to complete the trite joke.
As if you're not English enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a fixture. My name's on the door.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
So is Drummer Matt.
Not on the channel.
Yeah, it is. It's Snipe with Drummer Matt. I changed it.
Yet.
Yeah.
You put in the paperwork.
And I just don't want my name associated with you until you've got at least, your silver play button.
Okay,
that's fair.
That's fair. I think a lot of people probably feel the same way.
You
That's
don't,
okay.
you don't want to be messing with no basic bitches.
Exactly. But can I just take this opportunity? I just want to thank long friend and Oculus friend for doing an excellent job of filling in for me. I have listened to the episode, which was fucking weird not hearing myself on them. Because it's taken me the 80 odd episodes, or however I didn't start at the start, 75 episodes to get used to hearing my own voice. And now when I didn't, it's like when you go to a gig and you don't play. For us, it's like something just feels a bit wrong. But
no, I get you.
I very much enjoyed the episode with those two, so thank you both.
Yeah, those were some banging episodes. They did very well.
They did good. They did good, and we
They
are
are
very
good.
grateful.
Yes, good friends.
So how is married life treating you, Matthew?
Because Drummer Matt's married now to Warmaster Ruth. Yay!
I don't sound not excited about it because I'm not excited. It's just marriage. It doesn't really change anything.
Yeah, but now you get special marriage rings.
Oh well, I lost mine the day after the wedding, so.
Really?
Well, it was like a quid from Amazon, so it's fine.
That I didn't pay. Importantly enough.
Okay, you stole it from Amazon.
Yeah,
You snuck
and
into
it didn't
their
quite
warehouses.
fit. So the plan was to buy another one. It was too cheap to resize. So the plan was always to buy it. So it's not a big deal that I lost it, but it's still quite fun that I managed to lose it the morning after. Well, if I technically know exactly where it is, does it count as lost?
No.
Oh well, I guess I haven't.
Although that does sound like you've
Did you lose it at the bottom of a lake or something?
No,
I threw it into the ocean.
I was reaching behind something in a shed, at the with folks where the after party type camping bit was, and I was reaching over to take some fairy lights off something, and it fell down the back of a bit in the shed. So technically, I could get it by dismantling the whole shed, but that's really not worth it for a £1 ring off Amazon.
I feel that you're lying to cover up from the fact that you got mugged by a shed spider. And there's a spider out there with an amazing really tacky Amazon £1 ring waistband.
You see, Matt, I realised that when, let's be honest, idiots say that millennials are ruining the sanctity of marriage, they are talking specifically about you.
And you know what? I'm all for it because
Never ever change.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, if you want to do it, it's great, and I really wanted to. I don't know why, society, I guess, but
It is kind of something that's always built up quite big, from when you start comprehending language and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's cool. It's fun. You get to have a big party.
Yeah, well,
and
it's
also,
a great excuse to have a massive party with
and you get to see Ruth's dad without a shirt on.
Yeah, let's not even. We'll leave that till the next album cover, which I think is possibly going to happen.
Oh yeah, I did say I wanted that as an album cover. But yes, so congrats again to you and Rue.
Yeah, congratulations.
How have you been, Snipe?
I've been okay. I'm trying to think of what I've done, because I've had a bunch of stuff happen, but nothing really podcast worthy. I got a tattoo.
Hey!
That's pretty good. Got a nice tattoo on my wrist, so I've actually got a small visible tattoo. I say small, it's like 2 inches big. But like, still, it's fun. And
It's small compared to your previous one.
It's definitely small compared to my previous one. And it only took like an hour and like 15 minutes.
Nice.
Which is pretty good. Got tattooed at Octopus Tattoo in Derby by Ben Shaw. Really good artist. Really good tattoo artist. Cannot recommend the dude enough. And it's of a tooth. It's a bloody tooth.
Yes.
Pardon my language. But yeah, and it's a reference to Night in the Woods because of the tooth in that.
Yes.
Which I told Wib's stepdad the story and didn't add on that it was from a video game, and he looked fucking horrified. It was tremendous.
If you don't know, the very quick cliff notes of the story is that it is about a boss at a mine knocking some guy's last tooth out, so all of his co-workers pinning the boss down and pulling all of his teeth out, and then they all kept one of the teeth as like a sign of militant worker action.
Yep.
It's
Which
fine
I'm
though.
all about.
Nothing in that game is at all dark or anything.
Oh god, why have you got to get political, Drummer Matt? And bringing politics into Night in the Woods, which is so obviously an apolitical
Yeah.
game, which in and of itself is not a political statement or anything. Anyway, it's only like first fucking 10 minutes and we're already getting into this.
Didn't you spend like the entire time getting tattooed talking 40k with
The
Ben?
entire time, and then like the other guy, Matt Bone, which is an amazing
His name's
name.
Matt Bone.
His name
That's
is
the
Matt
best
Bone.
name.
Good. That is the best.
He came in and then we all started talking about 40k, and he was like, yeah, I've got like a stack of white dwarfs and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, what army do you play? And I had my plaits in my hair and everything, and he just went, and like I went space, and he went, yeah, Space Wolves, I should have guessed, yeah. But yeah, no, like Ben Shaw was also a Space Wolf player, so I picked a very good tattoo artist. So yeah, that like literally like the hour and a half I was there, we were just talking about 40k. It was pretty cool, actually. It was very cool. But yeah, apart from that, I've played a game.
You played a game, have you?
I've played multiple games. I've played a bit of Dishonored, played some Sims 4, etc. But like new games, I've been playing Planescape Torment.
Ah, a classic.
Yes. Now I never played this at the time, but they did release the enhanced edition, and I was like, ooh, because I've never heard a bad word against that game.
No.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
It's based on the D&D kind of Planescape setting. Of I think it's a D&D it's set in.
Generally speaking, I assume that if there's something iconic, then it probably comes from AT&D. I think it's generally a fairly decent guide.
Yeah. So it's like 2nd edition D&D. So it's like, I understand what it's saying. I understand THAC0. Not entirely sure how to apply that. Which is to hit AC 0, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I've heard
I
about
know
that.
the term, but I don't know what the fuck really. I'm gonna look it up after the podcast. So yeah, but yeah, you've got like loads of stats, and like you start out, and assign your stats and stuff. Which is everything starts at 9.
So is it an RPG?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an RPG. It's like a point and click kind of. Like, go talk to this person, pick up a quest, go and kill some skeletons.
Isn't it sort of very similar to like Baldur's Gate sort of thing?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's old, so it looks pretty fucking terrible. It reminds me, like in gameplay wise, of not Harvester. What's the one where you play as Max, the guy who's got the head bandages?
Oh, Sanitarium?
Yeah, Sanitarium. It looks a bit like that.
Oh, okay.
In like game, and you play as the nameless one.
Isn't your character you play as like immortal?
It's hinted at that. I mean, I know that he is, but like, it's really interesting how it kind of tells you, because like you wake up in a place called the mortuary, surrounded by just zombies, and they're just like pottering about. They're not like hostile or anything. They're just like doing like really mundane tasks. And
like recording podcasts and
no, worse than that.
Oh, okay.
Putting up shelves.
Yes. Well, there's like some of them will just be carrying bandages or holding books,
building Billy bookcases.
Yeah, or like cutting Billy Bear ham.
It's a lot of Billy related things. It's really weird.
It's actually really strange. Yeah, someone's taping Billy Connolly's World Tour of Australia. And, it's just a bit strange. But a skull just starts talking to you. And he's like, "Hey, Chief, what's going on?" Like that. He's got this American accent, but the thing is, his dialogue is very obviously written for an English like person.
Okay.
He refers to women as chits.
Chits,
as in CHIT.
Oh,
what?
He's like, "Oh yeah, look at all these undead chits. They're cute. They're eyeing me." And it's like, okay, but yeah, he's just a floating skull with eyeballs that thinks that every female zombie you walk past is totally into him.
Okay.
He's a bit of a shithead, honestly. But yeah, he wakes up, like, you wake up there and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you're like, hello? Where the fuck am I? And he's, you talk to him and you realise that you're in a mortuary, you got brought in and you're kind of undead, but not really, maybe? And, like, you're like, covered in scars, and you've got tattoos, and there's, like, bunch of tattoos on his back that are just like, "Dear me, when you wake up, you won't remember anything. Find this guy."
Seems like that'd be more convenient to write on your wrist or something.
Yeah, you'd think, but like,
rather than needing like a mirror and a friend to find out you've
yeah,
even
so
got
like
something
the
back
skull's like reading off your back. It's basically like you do, like, your character does turn around and go, "God, like, my body hurts, but apparently it hurts more because I have a fucking novel written on my back." It's like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. So you go around and, like, you examining all these zombies, and, like, they're just, like, you go up and you can say hello to them, and you're like, "Hey, how's it hanging?" And they just stare through you because they're just animated dead. And apparently you find out that the people that have put you there are referred to as the Dustman, and they like cremate bodies and stuff because they believe in true death, which is like basically they think reincarnation is blasphemous and terrible and bad, so they try and commit people to like true death and all that kind of stuff. Really weird take on a death cult, honestly. And you meet this old guy who's like the scribe there who writes everyone's name in the dead book. And he's like, "Oh, it's you." And you're like, "You know me?" And he's like, "Yes. Obviously I know you." Like, he calls you Restless One because apparently you just keep waking up.
Okay.
Like, you just won't fucking stay dead. And, like, he's just really bored of your shit. I met a tiefling who was a bit rude but kind of helpful to me. Because you have to go get her, like, embalming fluid and stuff, and then she, like, stitches up your wounds, and you get, like, a max +1 to your HP, like, permanently. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, actually. Yeah, I'm not at the mortuary yet, but no, I'm really digging where it's kind of going, because, like, there's a lot of breadcrumbing. I'm really getting the D&D feel. Like, you talk to the scribe, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't envy you. You're doomed to walk the earth forever. And, you've got to accept that you have to die and not reincarnate, and, and the people who walk with you are doomed as well." And you're like, "What people?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, they brought a bunch of dead people in with you." And it's like, where can I find, as well, there's a ledger around here, so you go find the ledger and stuff like that. And I'm like, the funniest thing about it so far is the main character's voice, which is stereotypical kind of gruff dude. And, like, while you're talking to someone, he'll go, "I've updated my journal." And you're like, because there's no real voice acting, like, apart from maybe, like, the initial kind of, like, response text to you, like, message, like clicking on them.
I really like the idea of this guy sitting there while someone's talking to him with his journal out, hastily scribbling, and then once he's finished, regardless
Slams
of whether
it shut.
like while the person's still talking, just slams the book shut and is like, "I have updated my journal," and the person's like, "Okay, cool."
Okay, the rude one. But yeah, no, it was quite funny because I'm sitting there learning about it, and it's like, yeah, it's this Planescape. Like they're talking about sigil. The Lady of Pain is like the menu screen. Which the Lady of Pain is a really cool character from Planescape who just floats around or like wanders around, and if anyone even remotely catches like her ire, which she'll basically just like flay you alive with a thought. She's like, because like sigil is basically every arch or like window or something like that. They're all kind of portals, and she controls all of them.
Because isn't it like Planescape's like a hub world to all the different kind of realities in D&D?
Yeah, as far as I know, it is. Yeah, and she basically controls sigil. She's like, she's the doorkeeper, and like she literally like no gods can get there because she doesn't want them to. So she's fucking powerful, and yeah, like. She's spooky. She's a big scary lady, and she's awesome. And yeah, she's predominantly she's the menu screen, and I'm like, that's actually really fucking cool. And it talks like I met a skeleton that was like, oh yeah, you need to walk, like you need to get out of here, huh? And I'm like, yeah. You need to tell me, otherwise I'll dob you into the guards. And he's like, oh shit, okay. You got to get out through the portals, and you're like, what portals? Where are they? And he's like, they're literally everywhere, which is pretty accurate. And it's like, and it's really cool because it's like, okay, what portal? And he says, oh, you need to go downstairs into like the east part, and that doorway, if you have a finger bone in the shape of a hook, so basically like a finger bone like bent over, then that's the key, and you can walk through it, which is absolutely correct for Planescape because like if you walk through a doorway with, say, like holding a tray of tea, you could just be like literally bamfed into like the bottom of the ocean in a weird reality.
Good.
It's just the way that city works. So he's like, you need to get this, and that's your key. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool, because I never played Planescape, but I've always liked the idea of it, because it's like, it's so weird, and like time isn't like, well, like, reality is so fucked, like, because like all these portals and everything, it's just so cool.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to hear, like, because you just in like the very
I'm
start
basically
of the game,
in the starting area. I put it on the easiest mode because it's an older RPG, and holy shit,
old CRPGs are just a nightmare. So like,
but
if
no,
you want to play them for the story, then just fucking do it. Like,
I'm really interested in like the story and where it's going to go. So I've been playing that. Also, I've started watching only the first episode, at the recommendation of our friend Unity, Black Spot on Netflix.
I have no idea what this is.
It's a French like procedural show about a town that I can't remember the name of because it's French and I'm a filthy idiot. And it's like a little black spot for like GPS and internet, in the way that they don't really get it. It like signal is not really a thing.
Like the bottom of any given Welsh valley.
Yeah, kind of like that. It is in the middle of a forest. So, and there's only like 3 police officers, and they have 6 times the national average for murders.
It's Midsummer all over again.
Yeah, but it's like
Midsummer, yeah.
It's got this really good kind of grimness to it that I like about a lot of like European stories. Like when it kind of goes through the dark stuff, it's quite grim and realistic, and just kind of like, I don't know, it reminds me a lot of Dark, which is a German Netflix series, which was pretty good, pretty spooky as well. I don't really know what I can say about that one without spoiling everything, because but no, Dark is another good, just eerie Netflix kind of like show. But yeah, no, I've watched the first episode, and it's pretty good. It's fucking weird, and I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm digging that.
Okay.
Like, my quote is from my current favourite character, whose nickname is Teddy Bear. Which
Right.
is, like, they find a body in the woods, and they're photographing it, and, like, you know, there's, like, an infinity symbol carved on the tree. And the main character, she touches it, and it's, like, blood. And he just sighs and goes, the birds are going crazy and the trees are bleeding. It's going to be one of those years. And I'm just like, dude. Like, that guy is ultimate mood. Just like, ugh, fucking trees. Bleeding everywhere. Making the crows all mad. But yeah, no, it's got a really good atmosphere, and they have a lot of antlers knocking about, which I am all for.
You're a simple being. If antlers are present, then you're happy.
Yeah, usually. So yeah, no, I've only watched one episode of that, but yeah, it seems pretty cool.
Okay.
But yeah, apart from like painting my my army and all that other good stuff.
Which one?
Ah, yes, I see you've been keeping up with the MisanthroPod TM. I haven't finalised what I'm having with my Tyranids, so
Okay.
haven't finished putting them together yet.
Okay.
I think I've started putting them together, but that's beside the point. Yeah, trying to get my wolves done. But yeah, apart from that, nothing really podcast worthy.
Okay.
Wibble It. What have you been up to?
A couple of things. Nothing too major, but so I've started watching through the second season of the new Mystery Science Theatre 3000 because I just never got around to it. Apparently, I meant
nice.
to because I quite liked the first new season because I know a lot of people had some problems with it, but like I have no nostalgia for old MST3K, so you know, a new presenter and a slightly different tone is not the sort of thing that's going to put me off because I just kind of like the humour in the new one.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
yeah, but yeah, watching the second one, I'm halfway through, which means I had to watch 3 damn movies. One of which is an Asylum movie, which is weird to see.
That
Like
is weird.
it's Atlantic Rim, the knockoff of Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But there is. Okay, yeah, fine. I'm not even gonna. Yeah.
which is honestly, I think might actually be a step up from most of the Asylum movies I've watched. So
Okay.
that's interesting. Not because it's good. Don't be under any illusion that it's good or well made or
Because it's not.
has money spent on it or is worth watching. But yeah, I will say one thing. I don't know if this is just me becoming more aware of it, but I did notice in this season, it feels like there's a lot of those. Because obviously, like, stuff, MST3K is scripted. Like, it's not actually a riff. Like, they've watched the movie and they've worked out what is funny to say, and then they act it out, you know, like on a run through. But, like, there's so many in it where it's obvious that they're doing that because the joke starts at the first possible second that it is that you would be able to acknowledge what's on screen.
Okay.
So you know that it's scripted. It's not an issue, but it's just something I noticed. I don't know if it's just I've become more aware of it because having seen more of the show now. But yeah, and it's not a bad thing. It's just it's just something I noticed because it kind of removes a little bit from the illusion they're trying to create. But still, I'm still enjoying it. But yeah,
glad.
not much to say about it. It's MST3K. Like yeah, still has Harmar Superstar as the in the theme tune, so I'm okay.
Good.
But I also watched on half the recommendation, the sort of like soft recommendation you gave for it a few podcasts back, Matt, and my dad telling me to. I watched through the first season of Final Space.
Ah, yes, I saw on Twitter that you did this. What did you think?
I think the show is very good. And it is only undermined by the fact that Gary is really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sums it up quite well.
He's
I
loud.
mean, Drummer Matt did warn us all.
Yeah, he's loud and screechy, and
Yeah.
quite often when there would be
So he's basically me.
no, it's so like the actual show. Like, whilst it's a comedy sci-fi, like it's not trying to be anything other than a comedy sci-fi, but it does have it is still a sci-fi. It has a story that it tells quite well.
Yeah.
And like Gary as a character is actually quite likable because he's noble. Like he's a bit of an arse sometimes, and he's maybe gone a bit wrong by being locked up with no human for company for 5 years. But he's like not a bad person, like when push comes to shove, and that does actually really count for something because people don't have to like turn him around to be good. He's actually the one that's good to begin with, like the one who's down to save the world and to help people. Like he just wants to go on adventures.
When the chips are down, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, but he's like Invader Zim, where every other word is shouted.
It gets very old very quickly.
Yeah.
And especially, it undermines some really cool scenes. Like, there's a framing device throughout the whole first season where, and this isn't spoilers because it's literally in every episode at the start, where he's floating in space, like with his oxygen running out.
Ooh.
And each episode starts with another minute of his oxygen having gone, because he starts off with 10 minutes of oxygen remaining. And quite often, not all of them, but most of them will end with a joke at those bits. And because of the character, they're quite often a bit shouty. And I'm like, if those were just presented as like a low-key sort of the same joke, exactly the same line, but just
Not being screaming.
presented really low-key, it would still be funny, but it would also maintain this kind of almost melancholic tone, because it's not like it's not like sad per se, but it's just this, because it's kind of presented as being, after stuff has happened and you don't really know what.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it feels like that tone would have been far more effectively used had they done that. But I will say, I watched the first episode of season 2 because that's currently airing in America.
Ah, okay.
And aside from the recap of the first season, having Gary say, "Hello, my name is Gary Goodspeed," a lot of people on Reddit find me annoying for some reason. He does seem to be a bit more toned down in the second season from the first episode.
Okay.
Which I'm glad about, because apart from that, the show is really quite good. I also find it curious that it is a show where the incidental music throughout the show I actually really like. I almost get kind of Mass Effect vibes from it. But the theme tune's fucking awful and unmemorable and just nothing. It's... So, you know how, I think I've said this about Star Trek Discovery's opening, that it's just really just there. It's just generic TV show intro. This is the Star Trek Discovery's intro to Star Trek Discovery. Like, it's just nothing. And it's just like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I guess to add to the sort of thing that you said, I would give this a recommendation, but with the caveat that Gary's very annoying and it might take a bit to either get over that or you might never get over it because he's very annoying.
Yeah.
But the actual story of the show is kind of worth getting over it if you can, because it's pretty decent. Also, the fact that David Tennant plays the villain is really weird to me because I cannot hear him.
It doesn't sound like him at all, right?
I went to check it multiple times because I checked it and was like, it's David Tennant. Okay, weird. And then once I watched a bit more, I went back and checked again and was like...
Is that a different character? No, that is him.
Is it the same David Tennant? Is it a different version of the character? Like, not the normal version? It's like, no, it's just him. Like, okay, kudos, man. But yeah, so decent little show, but with issues. And hopefully, when the full thing of season 2 is done, I'll actually go back and watch the rest of that and... see how it stacks up, because, hey, who knows, maybe it's going to be like a Star Trek thing where, it just doesn't have a good first season. Well, it's not even like it had a bad first season, but just it had that one problem. But it does seem to be quite a widely sort of held issue with the show, so, it's not just us being, like, picky. Like, it was referenced in the show, that's how much of a widely known thing it is, so. But yeah, apart from that, I have played... Okay, I've played 3 video games, but they're sort of as part of one thing. Okay. So, a little while ago, I think it was on, is it Fanatical, the website?
Yeah.
Where you can, when you buy something, it'll give you an offer for like,
you
what
can
is
like
it?
It's like for like £1 like 99 or something, it'll give you 2 mystery keys. which, how can I say no as somebody who already has too many games?
Which, just did on a whim. Just, that seems like that could be a fun way to find a game that we wouldn't necessarily normally play. And that was very true, because one of the games that came with that was a game with the very enticing title of Hidden Object 6-in-1 Bundle.
Yeah, boy.
Okay.
Now,
How could you resist?
now, I actually find this kind of funny, because, like, hidden object games are a weird thing. Because, like, I'm one of those people that doesn't really... I don't have much sort of... What's the word? I don't give much...
Object permanence.
No. Word permanence, maybe. I don't give much credence to the idea of, like, there's hardcore games and casual games. The hardcore gamers and casual gamers. I don't care. Like, a video game is a video game. Like, how easy it is to play or whatever doesn't really factor into it to me. So, I find, like, these little niches of video games that exist really fascinating. That, don't really push into the mainstream very often. And hidden object games are one of those sort of things, because I checked on Steam and there are 60 pages of hidden object games.
Oh, I guess you could say they were pretty hidden. Shut up, Drama Man.
I did also, with a cursory glance, find one that's coming out that's a porn hidden object game. So
Do you have to hide the sausage?
no, you have to find the sausage.
And then you get to hide it.
I mean,
And
maybe.
then find it and then hide it and then find it and then hide it.
Yeah, you get whiplash pretty bad there,
Yeah.
actually.
But anyway, so I thought, because the only real experience I have with a modern hidden object game is that one that we made a joke about in the HP Lovecraft video, which I think was Dual Link Mysteries Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Oh, at the Mouth of Madness, actually. It was Mouth of Madness, not Call
I'm
of
pretty
Cthulhu.
sure Dual Link Mysteries Call of Cthulhu was like that was a puzzle game. It was like a Bejeweled knockoff.
No, that doesn't exist. No.
Oh, okay.
No, the one you're thinking of is Mountains of Madness, and that has it was Hidden Object / Match 3.
Okay.
Sort of puzzle
I just
game.
thought it was a match 3 one. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
And it had a whole hidden object thing in it. And so I was like, I'll actually play this, because I'm intrigued to see, like, what the genre is actually like.
Yeah.
And because this was like a 6-in-1 bundle, I'm like, fucking yeah. It was put out by Alawar, they're called, however you pronounce it. I don't know. But I think they're the publisher of these kind of games, and it has 6 in it. I can't remember 3 of them because I didn't play them, but I've played 3 of them. I actually beat 1 of them.
Oh, cool.
And
Just a quick
Congrats.
question. How long did that take you?
about 3 hours.
Oh, it's not bad, actually.
And like, this bundle, I think, is like £7 or something. So 6 games for £7, and if each of them takes about 3 hours, if that's like the average length, then you know what? That's not bad.
Yeah.
So I've got some general observations about hidden object games from the 3 that I played. The 3 that I played, by the way, are the games The Other Side, Tower of Souls, which is the one I beat, Cruel Games, Red Riding Hood, and Cronville, Stolen Dreams.
I wondered what that trading card was. I didn't know. I was like, Red Riding Hood, the heck? I was so confused.
So, what I've noticed is that hidden object games have unnecessarily convoluted stories.
Okay.
So, I would have assumed hidden object games would be... So, if you're not aware, the way hidden object games basically work, for the most part, it seems from the ones I've played, is that they are point-and-click adventure games, but every now and again you are arbitrarily pulled into a room to play Where's Wally.
Okay.
To find an object you need for a puzzle, but it's nearly all just like inventory puzzles.
Okay.
Not as convoluted as like an old school, like Sierra style game.
Oof.
More sort of akin to a modern one. Like the game that I think is the closest to a hidden object puzzle without being a hidden object game without being one is a game like Tormentum, Dark Sorrow.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good if you've never played that.
That's got some good atmosphere, that one does.
That's like if HR Giga made a point-and-click adventure game that wasn't Darkseid. But yeah, so they're kind of like that. So they have these weirdly convoluted stories. Like the stories of the 3 that I played are Cronville is you start off and you're a young girl whose father is trapped inside a burning building.
Right.
And so you have to
Go get a McDonald's.
You have to try and rescue him. So you do like this weird inventory puzzle to like go and find. What is it like? You go and fill up a bucket full of water and then throw that at the door. That makes a piece of glass in it shatter, and then you need to go and get a towel and wrap it around the glass so that you can cut a bit like a rope from a ladder so it'll fall down, so you can put the ladder up to climb up, which then you just get blown back anyway, and your father presumably dies.
Oh wow, spoilers.
That's the first 3 minutes of the game.
Okay, that's fair.
And then it flashes forward, and then you're like the educational psychologist at like a rough ass school.
Oh, dang.
Where most of the kids have gone missing, and you've got a kid, and you have to like try and get him to talk about what's happened. And then you just
This sounds way too serious and intriguing for a fucking hidden object
I'm actually probably
game.
going to go back and try and beat it because it's actually kind of interesting. This one is actually a switch around because it has a reverse hidden object puzzle where you have the objects and you have to match them with other random objects that they'd go with. Okay. So like you've got a tea bag, so you need to put it in a cup because
face.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, the way hidden object puzzles generally work is that you have a big screen full of just random fucking objects. Like, usually they'll try and be themed around whatever area you're in. But sometimes they just get really fucking weird. So it'll be like, oh, you're in a graveyard, so there's like a football and a skull and a hot dog, and you're just like, what the fuck? And you've just got this huge list of objects to like click on. If you're playing on advanced mode, you get punished for wildly clicking, but if you're playing on easy mode, like me, because I was just doing this to talk about it on the podcast, then you can just click wildly if you want. But yeah, this one worked in the reverse, where you had to like, you had objects, but you had to match them with other objects. So that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
The other one was Cruel Games Red Riding Hood, where your friend has been kidnapped by the big bad wolf, who's basically a serial killer in a mask, and you're solving various puzzles that he's laid out for you. He's like Jigsaw, but you're not trapped in one place, and
like
he's
Jigsaw,
actually torturing
but he's
someone
not
else.
Shit. I hate Jigsaw.
Someone's
Someone's gonna fucking at me about that. I think it's daft. The guy's he died in like the 3rd one, and then in the 18th one, he's still fucking around, because apparently they're using his fucking like voicemails he's left people in a way to like fucking trap them in rooms or whatever. And he can talk normally, he just decides to do a stupid Batman voice, and it's really annoying, and he's a silly sausage.
You're not a fan of the Saw movies, are you?
No. I'm not a fan of torture porn, honestly.
Oh yeah, I get you. However, the last game, which is the one I actually beat,
Dual Link Mysteries.
No, and despite me saying last game, it's actually the one I played first. The Other Side Tower of Souls. So it starts out, and this is my introduction to hidden object games as a genre. Is okay. I'm going to truncate the story slightly, but. One day there was a wizard and he made a door that goes to the afterlife, then the afterlife tried to get through, so he had to kill people to sacrifice their souls. Like, he had to lure people in.
To clog up the door.
So that the door wouldn't open because it needs souls to feed it, and you're a private detective who is lured in there by the ghost of a girl who has been in a coma for 30 years. She comes out of a coma. She hasn't aged. I don't know why. It's really weird. And her hot sister.
Please tell me her hot sister is like 30.
Oh, she's like 40 or something.
Oh, good.
So
good.
it's
okay.
fine.
Okay, good. That I was worried
who,
for a moment.
who is a witch, by the way.
Of course she is.
And you also have a cat, who I forget the name of because it's not important.
Let's just call him Grebo.
Who talks to you. And yeah, you go through this area, this tower, like going through different stages, and you meet people who've been sacrificed to it, who've sort of become part of this tower, who have gone a bit wrong. So there's a sculptor who encases people, by the sound of it, in stone.
These are just knockoff Batman villains.
Yeah, basically.
Like Calendar Man's in there somewhere.
There's also a guy who is straight up the villain from Lex Season 2.
Okay.
He's got floating arms, and he himself is like just a head on kind of a robot body. Whoever made this was a fan of Lex. Straight up, it is the main villain from Lex Season 2.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. I did not expect to see that. But yeah, and there's like 3 layers of double crossing. There's time
Are we
traveling.
talking like Revolver Ocelot levels of double crossing?
Yeah, well, it's basically just 2 characters convincing each of you is double crossing the other. But they're kind of not, but they kind of are, but they're kind of not.
I mean, they're kind of double crossing so much that they're actually on the same side.
I don't actually know if there's 2 endings, but I'm not going to complete the game a second time. So, but it's not a bad little thing, and yeah, like honestly, these games feel like they get kind of a bad rap for being like filthy casual sort of things. Like they're not, and no one ever talks about them really. But honestly, it's just a point and click game with a built-in hint system, so you'll never get stuck, and you can just kind of casually play through them. And the stories are seemingly unnecessarily convoluted a lot of the time, and the conceits of them are so bizarre. So it's like, oh, you need to get a key. Okay, go into this room and find 50 random objects.
50 handkerchiefs.
Like, find 3 birds, a syringe, a brick, a dildo, the Communist Manifesto.
That
and a
sounds
key.
like literally what you've got on your bedside, like right now.
And the key will just be the one item you'll take away from it. It's just a replacement for an point-and-click adventure.
I know what it is. It's you're a compulsive hoarder. And
well, you're going into
in
like
an adventure game.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And you're like, well, I got to take all this stuff. I've got to take this handkerchief and this newspaper from 1914.
Basically, it's just these hidden object things just replace like one thing where you just pick an item up, and it's just another mini game. Because they also have a ton of little mini games in them, which range from basic things like little puzzle things where you have to move things around, which depending on which one it is either like laughably simple or one of those puzzles, because any slidey block puzzle my brain can't function,
and I hate
slidey
them. Block puzzles.
However, most of these seem to have just like a skip mini game button built into them.
That's awesome. I wish like Silent Hill Homecoming had that, where you could just skip the game. I literally bought that for like £3, and I feel like I've been fucking stolen. Like someone has stolen my money. That game is so bad. And it has a fucking slidey block puzzle in it.
Yeah, loads of these have like slidey block puzzles or similar kind of things. And yeah, it's some of the little mini games are kind of fun. Some of them are just shit, fucking terrible waste of times that are literally like, some of them you'll just beat first time, but they just waste like 2 minutes of your life because they're just kind of badly made. But I don't know, I feel like I want to dive more into the genre because it is just this weird way in which point-and-click adventures have survived whilst not being counted as just a regular point-and-click adventure. It's like, so the hidden object parts of these games feel like those bits in games that no one actually cares about, but are in all of a certain genre for some reason, like turret sections or escort missions. Where you go,
slidey block puzzles,
where you could remove them and the game would be just as good, but they're there for some reason, for some arbitrary reason. So yeah, I'm probably going to play through some more of those. I don't know if I'll talk about it again because I don't believe I'm going to find any more insights. But yeah, the other weird thing is that the artwork in these things tends to be really inconsistent because it's like half well drawn, half well drawn artwork, like specially made stuff. Like I don't know, like a quarter terrible art and a quarter literally photos that have been cut out. So they end up with this really inconsistent kind of look to them sometimes. And it's all animated like if Alpha Booster didn't give a shit.
Okay. Right.
So it's just like the images being like moved and morphed around. But as
you mean like really bad Newgrounds stuff?
But I stress this is like but what Alpha does is like a different level to this.
Oh no,
because
it's amazing.
Alpha knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like someone just starting out trying to imitate that kind of thing. Basically like whenever I do it in a video. Because that stuff takes ages. I don't know how he does it.
It takes forever.
So yeah. weird little genre, full of convoluted stories.
Did you enjoy your soiree into it?
It's been interesting. As I say, I'm gonna carry on a bit. I think I might try and beat the Cromwell Stolen Dreams one, because that does seem like one of the more interesting ones. 'Cause it's got
Is that the one with the hot sister?
No, that's the one with the missing children.
Okay. No, that sounds like a really interesting setup for a horror game.
It does have quite an oppressive atmosphere.
Just like, you're like... It feels very like a spooky Japanese horror, almost a Silent Hill kind of game of sitting in a school and all of the children are missing. That sounds really spoopy.
Although that is the one so far that's had the least intuitive puzzles.
Yeah. Skip button.
Oh, it's stuff that you can't skip.
Oh, fuck off.
You have to do it. I mean, it's not, like, difficult. It's just,
It's just annoying, I'm guessing.
Sometimes you have to kind of... It's a bit like, the old point and clicks where it sometimes takes you, like, half an hour of playing a game before you get your kind of mind onto the right bullshit wavelength of whatever the author had. Like, again, nowhere near, like, Sierra level. Because, man, that's, like... You have to sit there and go, okay, how would I solve this problem if I was a lunatic, like a kleptomaniac lunatic, like who has no comprehension of social mores or what objects are for? And that's playing an old Sierra game.
Basically a toddler who'd seen like a lot of episodes of MacGyver.
But didn't know what any of the objects MacGyver were using were actually for.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's me done, because I have been painting my Eldar.
Yeah, they're looking really good.
I've gone through the hell of fully painting and magnetizing a Wraith Lord. So that's a fucking mess.
Yeah, but the thing is, they are gorgeous. They are very gorgeous.
But that required... So not counting the alternate weapon loadouts that I haven't painted yet, I've just painted the one that I was going to use, like, for the time being, which is double Bright Lance, double Shuriken Catapult. Don't tell me that it's a bad loadout. I just wanted it because it looks cool. It's basically like, it's like I've got the bigger guns mounted on the forearms, because I just thought that was kind of cooler a long range kind of style one. Not that it matters, 'cause I can change them around, but because of how thin everything is, you have to use 2 magnets, so you have to be really careful with like polarities, and you have to kind of drill both in there. So that means that because it's got 4 weapon points and 2 magnets in each, and then each weapon requires 2 magnets, that required me to affix 16 magnets to do the most basic level of magnetization. And because of his pose, I didn't even magnetize the hand. I tried to, but I couldn't get because his wrist is so thin, I couldn't get a magnet big and strong enough in there for it not to slide around. My second one, because of the pose, I should be able to make it work. But yeah, so that one's going to have 20 magnets in it. So
yay.
Good.
That's good.
That's good.
Well, it'll have 18, because it'd be 16 in the normal, and 18 in that. So yeah, that's the whole thing. And again, not counting the alternate magnets. The alternate magnetization for other weapons and things. But still, having fun. Fully assembled my next Wraithguard squad, so that'll be one of the next things on the painting block. So, and I'm currently doing the Spirit Seer, who will not be modified in any way, even though it's kind of an Exodite force, just because the helmet of them is like the most defining thing of them from a distance, and I couldn't really think of any way of changing that without making it kind of confusing as to whether it's a Spirit Seer or a Far Seer or what have you. But yeah. But that's what I'm doing right now, and probably what I'll probably do some of later today whilst Snipe is streaming. So
yeah,
I'm going to sit there and paint. But yeah, that is me done. So,
the Drumbled Matthew.
What have you been doing in the 6 weeks since we last asked you that?
Okay, I have a few
Apart
things.
from like being a husband now.
Oh, yeah, so I did
Losing your wedding ring in a shed to a spider.
To a big angry spider that mugged you.
Yep.
It was like, oi, give me that ring. And you were like, oh, core blimey. And then he robbed you.
What accent did either the spider or Matt have then?
Well, because we were in Hereford.
And is that what a Hereford accent sounds like?
Because everyone was like, oh, try some cider. And I was like, okay. The cider was good, actually.
Your ability to perfectly recount English accents is peerless.
I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that all of my accents are perfect.
Yeah,
But let's move on from that train wreck. And Matt, what are you? What do you want to talk about?
Okay,
What are you?
so I have a little bit of a list. I've done a few bits and bobs in the weeks I've been away. A lot of travelling, so not too much. But my first point is some follow-up from the last episode of the MisanthroPod.
Oh.
When you with Oculus Friend were talking about TNG. And
Yes.
my slight thing for this in advance is that it's slight spoilers for the first season of Discovery, but I think you've spoken about it enough that that's not an issue, right?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So you were all laughing that one of the concepts they wanted to do in TNG was to somehow fix dolphins to help navigate in 3D space.
Yeah.
And you're all laughing at how ridiculous that is, and it was an example of one of the silly ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically literally do that in Discovery.
Haha, that's still stupid.
It's not
Yes,
it's not
it-
a dolphin, but it is literally what they do. They fix an animal to the ship to help navigation.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why isn't anyone mentioning this?
Well, I
That's
have
true.
an excuse. I haven't seen it.
That is true.
See, Oculus Friend and Wib Husband don't have excuses.
I mean, it's a little different because it's
Is
to
it?
it's to navigate the particular type of the mycelial network,
Yeah,
which the
which
giant
is-
tardigrade uses, as opposed to dolphins that don't live in space.
Yeah.
that you know of.
So it is still stupid, but it's slightly less stupid.
Yeah, no, I'm not even saying it's stupid. I'm just saying it's so similar to what you were talking about. I just thought someone was going to mention it, and then when he didn't, I was like, I'm going to have to mention that myself.
Yeah, no, it is a fair point. It is a fair point.
Anyway, that was only a minor point. The rest of the two podcasts that I missed get thumbs up, I guess.
Apart from that one bit, which you have very strong judgments about.
Apparently. Onto some games. So these two are the ones that I did before my travels, so that was a long time ago. So let's see if I remember
Wow.
anything. Slime Rancher has a new update.
Oh, dang, really?
I've
Yes.
been meaning to play it since the new update.
Yes,
because it's
I'm-
a brilliant video game.
Slime Rancher
I
is
love.
very excellent. It was my game of the year one, whatever year I started playing it,
I think it might have
which
been
is
mine as
notably
well.
not the year that it came out, obviously.
Oh well, yeah.
Can't even remember what mine was. It was probably like Doom 2016 because that's my game of the year every year.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, there's a new expansion, and it's a good excuse to come back and play the game for a bit. It doesn't really add that much. It's just a new area. You know, the last few expansions, there's been like a new area that you do some tasks for one of the various characters, and eventually you unlock an extra bit of farm on their land.
And
Similar
then you can be
to
like, get off my land.
yeah. This one's based around. Oh, I've forgotten the guy's name now because it's been quite a while. But the guy who doesn't really talk to you, he doesn't talk with you. He talks to you or at you, and he's into his gadgets. And is it Victor?
I don't remember this at all.
I can't remember. But he's one of the guys that comes up on the various mission screens that you can do.
Ah, yeah.
And then you end up going over to his place, and he's built like a VR world with slimes in it, and some of them are going glitchy, and you have to go around and collect glitches.
Okay.
It's quite good fun, and it's a good reason to get. I mean, it's a 2 hours worth of gameplay extra or whatever, but it's a good excuse to go back to play a really good game. So I just thought I'd mention that. I really enjoyed it, and if anyone else has Slime Rancher, it's a good chance to go back and have a play. Next up, the game that I was playing as part of my new game per episode still counts for 6 weeks because it's still only one episode, right?
Dang
So- Have any of you guys played Rime?
Rime.
Rime.
As in Frosty.
No.
No.
It is very excellent. I went into it thinking it's sort of exploration, puzzle solving, slightly platformy type thing. And you wake up. The story is you wake up on an island, and then the story evolves. And I'm not going to actually talk about the story because I think that's what you need. That's a big part of it is sort of discovering what's going on and working out the story. But it's all told. You wake up on this island, and then you wake up, and there's no direction. Like the camera pans one way to give you a sort of hint. Oh, maybe I should probably go that way. But there's no objectives or go over here or do this thing or. And then the story somehow happens, and you kind of stumble into it through very clever like hints, but you're never told things. It's sort of like slight shiny thing in the distance. You're like, oh, I suppose I should go over there. And there's like the camera pans certain ways, and there's not a single word of dialogue or written text or anything spoken in the entire game. and yet the story is so beautiful. By the end of the game, I was sat on my chair crying for about half an hour.
Oh, dude.
It is.
I need to play it now.
It is possibly, I'm going to go as far as saying, my favourite game I've ever played.
Oh.
It was,
Okay.
and it just came
Okay.
completely out of nowhere, because I was just expecting, like, I just watched, like, you know, when you watch the trailer clips or whatever, it's just like a little puzzle explory thing, and you're just exploring around, and yeah, and I just went into it being like, oh, this will be quite just a nice, like, quick, like, palette cleanse between some big games and things, and it's just beautiful. I just absolutely love it, and I really don't want to talk about why, because it's such a big part of learning the story as you go along.
Yeah.
But oh man, you guys should play it, and then we can talk about it in private after.
Absolutely.
And then everyone else
Put
should
in the
play
wish
it.
list.
And I can't remember. I got it on offer. I can't remember. I have no idea how much it is in the or how long it took me to beat.
It's £30 now.
Ooh. Okay. I would now, knowing. So I just had a quick look on Steam, and I put 6 hours into the game to complete it. And there is some collectibles and things you can collect, as there quite often is. But I could definitely put a few more hours in to go and find those. But just getting through the story and exploring a bit and doing some of the collectibles accidentally on the way, I put in about 6 hours. So whether it's worth £30, I now would say it would. It is for me, because I enjoyed it that much, but I can't guarantee, you know, it's for everyone and everyone would enjoy it that much. So I possibly wouldn't say 6 hours for £30 is a bit on the steep side.
I mean, I've popped it on the watch list, so I'll keep an eye out.
But yeah, honestly, I don't want to say much more about it beyond, the story. It's just such an amazingly beautiful, for me anyway, beautiful story that's told without a single word or line of dialogue or anything being said. And you don't ever have an objective or... it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
Now, that does sound pretty rad.
And I highly recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, we shall check it out the moment we can.
Yeah, then I went travelling for a bit. Oh, I went to the World Cup final, if anyone is at all interested in the sports. It was the Women's World Cup final was in France over what?
Oh yeah, I remember you
weeks
and
ago?
Ruth sending pictures. You looked like you had a blast.
It was great. Yeah, it was really good. We just went on the way home. Looped by Lyon where it was, and it was good fun. Women's football is like the States, USA. Ah. It was pretty amazing though, like, because they are the best team in the world, but everyone else, because I think in the States, like, men play, this is, you know, all in giant inverted commas, men play American football or baseball or whatever, and women aren't allowed to play these things because the patriarchy, etc. So they play soccer, so football. So there's quite a lot of money put into it, and obviously they've got a giant population and a lot of money. So they are the best in the world by quite a long way. But the rest of the countries, which is really nice to see, are definitely catching up. And I think this is probably the last year where they'll be able to assume they'll be able to get to the final. Because, like, this year they pretty much did. And I mean, England played them and came pretty close, and France played them and came pretty close. So there's a few teams that came close to beating them, and they just edged it. But they were by far still the best team, so they deserved to win it. But it was quite amazing in the stadium because it was about 90% USA fans.
Okay. Oh, dang, okay.
Which was, and it was, you know, a 30, 40, whatever thousand capacity stadium. I can't remember what the attendance was. Like, big sold out stadiums. So, and then when you hear it at various times throughout the crowd, the whole, you know, the USA chant, and it was just like, this is so intimidating. Like, the whole crowd, and not in a scary way, and the atmosphere was lovely. And then we went out afterward. We were the final was USA versus the Netherlands, so we all wore orange and we had like Dutch for the day written on the back of our shirts, just because you know, being British, always support the underdog as a general rule. Yeah. Pretty much. So we were like, we know what, and then we got to the stadium, we're like, yeah, we're glad we did this, because, you know, the States do not need any more supporters at this point. It's very one-sided.
Amply supported.
But I will say, it's any sort of, you know, stereotypes you have about football fans is just not true in women's football. Like, we went out and had a few drinks and things for the evening after the game, and like we had like fans of various teams, because there was obviously American fans and then Dutch fans, but then fans from like various all over the world who come and watch as well, being the final. Because we booked our tickets before it started, so you had no idea who was going to be in the final. We just thought it'd be a nice thing to go to, and we had an ever so slight hope that England would get there, but whatever. But it was just lovely. Like everyone was chatting and coming up to us afterwards and going like, "Oh, nice game, good, unlucky." And we were like, "Actually, we're not Dutch." And oh, cool. And then we got chatting, and it was just such a lovely atmosphere.
You were just cosplaying as Dutch people.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, it did a really good job of, if anyone has any sort of stereotypes about football fans, which it's not anywhere near as bad as it used to be. There's still pockets of it being a bit funny, but it's still a lot better. But then with this it was just lovely. So
that's good to hear.
Then came home, did the wedding thing, and that was just a big party in the field, which was good fun. Drank a lot of beer.
I drank a lot of cider.
Nice.
Cider. I saved a spider as well. That might have been the one that mugged you, mate.
Maybe.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because I was like lining up for the bathroom, because it was like there was like 2 bathrooms, and I go in, I get done, and I look in the bath, and there's just a spider in there, and I'm like, it's gonna die, because like there was another spider in there, but you can see that someone's taken a bit of toilet roll and just crushed it and just left it there. And it made me so sad. So I washed my hands, I dried them up, and I opened the door, and then I grabbed the spider, and I went out, and everyone was looking at me weird, and I was like, there was a spider. And at that point, a bunch of people kind of backed to the wall away from me, because it was quite a thin corridor. And I'm like, yeah, it's just a spider in the bath. It's like, ugh. So, because it's quite a green area, so I went outside and I just popped it down. It was fine.
I think it's safe to say that your aversion to spiders is vastly decreased.
I've been forcing myself to pick them up and stuff, like just the small ones to start with. That was a moderate sized spider. But I'm getting better, and I want to aim to be like my incredibly tough as nails Glaswegian Nana. God rest her soul, because nothing fucking else will. She used to pick up huntsmen and stuff and just throw them outside. Like, she gave no fucks. Like, I don't think she ever got bit. She'd just pick them up and just be like, and she'd let them crawl all over her as well. It used to scare the fuck out of me, but now I'm kind of like getting it. I'm absorbing her power.
You're becoming more Scottish every passing day.
It's awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, no, so I'm quite proud of myself for work, because it's not been easy to get over my debilitating fear of spiders. It's been a lot of fucking hard graft.
I do find it funny that every now and again someone will leave a comment on something when you say something about a spider and going, but I thought Snipe was afraid of spiders. It's like, yes.
Character development.
It's almost as if some of the time when we talked about you being afraid of spiders was like 7 years ago.
I literally, when I was playing WoW with like Ash, Sarah and Drummer Matt, I tanked a raid with my eyes shut because the raid boss was a spider. That's like how afraid of spiders I used to be. And now I'm picking little shits up.
Yeah.
Nice. At bars. Because I love them. Wanted to be kisses with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't like it. It does like I have had the occasional thing of people being kind of accusatory, like, I thought you said you were scared of spiders. Like, I'm lying for. Why would I lie about being afraid of spiders? When obviously, like, I guess the cooler thing to lie about would, like, be super into spiders.
Yeah.
But I don't get it, because I've had a few people basically being, like, insinuating that I've been lying about it, and I just don't get it. But yeah, it's character development. I've worked really fucking hard to not be afraid of spiders anymore, and I'm still a little bit skeeved out by them, but nowhere near as severely as I used to be. So, yeah, go me. I'm not lying about being afraid of spiders. Not sure what that would get me.
But yeah, what else you been up to, Matt?
So just some cliff notes for the last few things, I think. But so there's a new series of Black Mirror, which we watched.
Yes.
Oh, I still haven't seen that. I haven't seen season 2 of Agretsuko. She-Ra season 3's come out, and I've not seen
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought season 2 had only just come out.
Months, yeah. But I haven't seen that, and it's like, then there's another season, and I'm like, oh, bloody hell, okay. So I've got a bunch of things to watch. But yeah, sorry, Drummer Butt.
It's okay. So yeah, Black Mirror was good. It was very... So what I think about Black Mirror, and what the last series before this wasn't quite as high, is that it was the, weird technology or something that could happen relatively soon / is already happening, and what could go wrong with that. Whereas the last few seasons, and this one especially, was a very good episode, but they weren't very Black Mirror-y, I didn't think. Until I actually thought back to the very first episode, You know the one with the pig and the actual turned out to be true story.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
And
like
no
that
one was
didn't
surprised.
no.
Everyone remember the original architect of Brexit fucked a pig's head. Just putting that out there.
And then it's probably just like chilling in a tax haven somewhere.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But that aside,
Moving on.
that first episode was very good, and it was then not what I think of as a Black Mirror episode, really, because it was like this weird situation that was a really well-made episode, but it wasn't really about technology or anything. And this new series is sort of like that. Like, it's sort of, there is technology involved and like future technology and things, but it's not about that. But they are still all very good episodes. I think I just had to get over the fact that I was like, oh, but it's not like Black Mirror. I was like, well, it is. It's just more like the first episode of Black Mirror than the rest of that season or the first 2 or 3 seasons. And once I sort of got over that and being like, oh, this isn't proper Black Mirror, I was like, actually, these are just really good episodes of telly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely enjoyed them.
Cool.
They've all got
I
like,
do need to get back to them.
they've all got like they've all got like quite a big Hollywood actor in each one, and I was expecting that to sort of ruin it a bit for me, but actually they all did really good jobs.
Yeah.
And the actor in the second, I've completely forgotten his name. He's the baddie in Sherlock.
Andrew Scott.
I've completely forgotten the actor's name, but that doesn't ring a bell. Could be, could not be. I can't remember.
This is the Grumblebum Dinkledom season, right? The Bemovich Cumberbatch.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Please say words.
no.
We are literally doing. This is a medium in which our words are the only way in which people have a meaning, a way to grasp meaning of what we're saying, and you were just making noises there.
No, I'm talking fine. People knew what I meant. Although you did have a big go at me the other day because you were like, you will just make up words, and then when I ask you what you mean, you'll just repeat the words until I, like, snap. So it's like, would you like a bilk babe? And you're like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, bilk babe. Bilk babe. And then you'll figure out it's milkshake.
No, what happens is I just sit there obstinately and go, no, say the real word.
Bilk
I need
babe.
words to know what you're saying. And then you go, milkshake, and I'll go, fine, yes, okay.
But yeah.
And then you deny you do that.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, Andrew Scott was the one who played Moriarty, who looks a bit like my brother.
It is Andrew Scott. I've managed to use the time of you faffing about and saying not words to check. So.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, Andrew
is...
Scott looks like my brother a little. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, he does a little bit from this. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
But he is... That second episode, I'm not sure if it's my favourite episode of the 3. They're all really good episodes. But... I think it probably is, and it's because of him. Like, he is fucking amazing in it. He's a very good actor. So yeah, thumbs up, Black Mirror.
Moriarty was not a good role for him.
Oh, I quite enjoyed it, but then I enjoyed Sherlock, and a lot of people don't anymore. So
yeah, that's.
But
fair.
yeah, I have watched the next season of Grexico. We just finished it last night. It's great. Just watch it. Don't know why you haven't.
Because of who I am as a person.
It's probably not quite as good as the first season, purely because the first season was just such
out
of nowhere thing.
Yeah.
But
it's the same reason why Portal 2 will never be as good as Portal 1, because it just came out of nowhere and was
yeah,
good.
Exactly. Despite it probably being sort of better in most measurable ways.
Yeah, I legit like Portal 2 more than Portal 1.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, you know what I'm saying.
It's not as well regarded.
Yeah. But no, it's good. Just watch it.
Okay.
And yeah, we've just got about halfway through the next season of Stranger Things, the 3rd season.
I got like a couple of episodes into the 2nd season, and I'm like,
Yeah, I think the 3rd is better than the 2nd. I think the 2nd was sort of like, okay, I was watching that, and I'm like, I'm enjoying this, but I think it would have been better if it finished after the first season. It was just a 1-season thing.
Yeah.
Which I still think is probably, if they stopped then, that's probably the best time for it. But because they carried it on into the 2nd season, depending on how they finish this, so like, very vague spoilers, but not really. In the first season, a monster comes through, and they have to defeat this monster. Second season, it turns out there's a lot of monsters. Basically, that's how it sort of escalates, because it's obviously going to escalate. So it would have been nice if it was just this monster and then it finished. But okay, now you know, and they sort of obviously at the end of the season, if the season finishes. So if they use this third season as a sort of wrap up, okay, now we have to go in and sort of end this. That would make me really happy. If they sort of drag it on a bit, it might be a bit. But I think I'm enjoying the third one more than the second. I think so far. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. But I was like, okay, we were sort of a bit like, oh, shall we bother watching it, or can we not be asked? And we started watching it. I was like, okay, actually, they're doing quite a good job. Fair play.
I think that's the thing. Because I really liked the first season, but I felt so strongly that it should just end there.
Oh, no,
I have just completely ignored the fact more seasons have come out, so I can be in my own fiction where only one season exists.
I still ain't finished Punisher season 2, and I just.
That's because it's like measurably worse.
It completely just doesn't get like all the really cool kind of like things they did in the first one of like Frank Castle is not a good guy. Frank Castle is deeply mentally unwell. And it's like, it actually
does
something with that rather than just being some fucking stupid shithead power fantasy of some guy who's above the fucking law. It's like, oh, you've actually made the Punisher a three-dimensional character. Nice one. And then like season 2 comes out and it's just like, nah, let's make him a fucking power fantasy shit.
Let's just make him comic book Punisher again.
Which is, I fucking hate the comic book
Punisher. Might as well give him white gloves while you're at it.
Give him little white pants to put over his black cat suit.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm not adverse to that.
It would be a bold look.
Very bold.
But yeah, just to be clear, Strange Things season 2 I didn't think was anywhere near as bad as that. It was. I agree that it would have been better if it stopped after season 1.
I mean, I think the worst thing, like the meanest I can be about it is it was just a bit underwhelming. Stranger Things season 2. It's like, it was fine. It was just a little bit underwhelming compared to how, again, it's the thing coming out of nowhere and just being really good.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not like holding anything against it.
Yeah. But yeah, we're enjoying season 3 so far. I think we're about halfway. So depending on how it ends, I'm really hoping it does finish and it draws a good line under it all and stops. But I don't think it will now. But we can dream. We can dream. And the last thing I've been doing is because I've been getting into Euro Truck and American Truck Simulator. And I had spent a bit of time. Did I mention this on the podcast? I was trying to find a flight simulator because I was like, oh, I quite enjoy these.
Yeah, things. I think you talked about it in the last podcast.
But yeah, there's the new one that's coming out in a few years. But I was like, oh wait, no, I bought a game. In fact, I kickstarted a game.
You on your own?
Personally, it's all down to me. I am entirely responsible.
Wow.
Space Trucking, Elite Dangerous. I forgot I had that and then played it when it first came out and then stopped within a year or so because there wasn't that much to do on it. Turns out there's been it's on version 4. It was on version 1 before in various little numbers. And now it's on version 4. There's been 3 big editions since I last.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And I had to buy one of them. Some of the features you had to buy an expansion pack, but it was only £6 at full price. So I was like, oh, okay, I can deal with that. So now you can land on planets and do a bunch of other stuff that you couldn't before. And yeah, I've just been treating it as basically Euro Truck Simulator in space.
Galactic Truck Simulator.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, thumbs up. It's pretty great. Yeah, that's me done, I think.
Okay.
Cool.
A lot of things, but it has been 6 weeks.
More things than me.
Including, Rime. Unexpectedly, possibly favourite game ever.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I'm going to play that.
I always like that when you play something out of nowhere and it just affects you so deeply. You're like, this is one of my favourite things ever.
It was 6 hours, so I did it did a couple of days, but I don't know if it's just the mood I happened to be in and the story just hit home with me, or I don't know. So I'm not saying that it will be everyone's favourite game ever. And actually, I possibly ruined it now because I went into it not expecting much and then got something. So if you're going into it expecting it to be, I don't know. But
I'm still going to go in with an open mind.
But I do recommend and sort of stick out the first bit where you just don't have a clue what's going on and you sort of slowly pick things up. Very good. Yeah. But that is me done. So I think we should get on to what I thought was going to be a big backlash of questions.
But yeah, I think we kind of kind of headed that off at the pass by kind of just basically stating on Twitter, going, Jerome Matt's away, tweet your questions instead. And we did that for like a month. So...
It's only 2 episodes, so
yeah,
it's
but
fine.
a month sounds way worse. But yeah.
So ask away with those questions.
Hey, Wib, what's the email address?
Only Drummer Matt at snipeandwib@gmail.com.
Nice.
Yep.
Matt, what's that email address? Because you've not said it in a while.
We don't need only drummermatt at snipeandwib@gmail.com.
Just wanted to make sure, just in case people at home have already forgotten it.
Yeah. Good.
Repetition
Smart.
is good for learning.
Repetition, it's good. We can be an American TV comedy series.
Moving on.
So there's a few questions. First up, Daniel /Rivergreen. He said, here's the 2 names and use whichever. And I was like, I don't know which to use. I'll use both. Possibly defeating the point of just giving an alias. Anyway, sorry. He sent a very long and lovely email, which I've forwarded on to you guys.
Yes.
Which I won't read out on here, but it was very long and lovely.
Yes, thank you.
At the end of which had a bunch of questions. So, first up, 2 band-related questions.
Oh.
So first off,
It was Dicko's fault and it wasn't Denton's fault. There we go.
yeah, I think most people know that
They read between the lines.
we're in a band. They know that.
Yeah.
Fighting Evil is cool. Best band name ever. Not at all impractical. Everyone forgets the exclamation mark, which is part of the name.
Yep.
It's fine. So, we have a song called Lobsters, and he's saying what was the inspiration for the song Lobsters.
Oh, I remember that. So, it was literally just Dicko had seen a news report, like he says in the song, of some woman going, after like a bunch of studies, we found out that when you throw lobsters into boiling pans of like water, it does hurt them. And Dicko was just so obsessed with that. He was like super mad about it because he was like, of course lobsters feel fucking pain, you idiot. And he came into band practice and was ranting about it.
If I remember rightly, because the bass music of it is something that I'd written, and so it needed lyrics, and then Dicko
he was like, you know what?
Was like, this, and then he just started singing about lobsters, and it just stuck.
And we were like, this is perfect. We love it. And yeah, poor little lobsters. But yeah, that I remember it very well actually. Dicko being like, because like he doesn't.
It was at our old house because I'd made it all because I think it was before I actually had like the.
Is this the song that was originally called Headloo or Toaster Oven or something ridiculous?
No, it wasn't. No, I don't think this one actually even had a name. I'd made it entirely in MIDI because that was the only way I kind of had it doing that at the time, and so I'd made like a MIDI version of it, and then
Dicko got angry about lobsters.
Yeah, and then he was like, and then it sort of just came from there.
Yeah.
Second band-related question is, how does one start a band?
Well, it's like starting D&D. You basically get a bunch of people who can play or at least own the instruments and say, we're in a band now.
Yeah, and then just keep going for a while and eventually.
Yeah.
Failing that, organise an orgy and don't have any sex. That's basically what a band is.
Dude, you have been in other bands. Is that how it's done?
Because that was said with such bitter disappointment.
Yes, because honestly, like, when you joined our band, like, did you expect an orgy? And you were just too polite to, like, complain about it?
When Rick told you there was a band, like, did he give
he
the
like,
entirely
"Ooh."
wrong idea?
Oh, and he, like, drummer was like, a band, I'll join. And then he got there and he was too socially awkward to, like, not play the drums. But yeah, that's a good idea.
No, seriously enough, like, don't think that music ability has to necessarily be any part of it.
I mean, the Sex
Like,
Pistols are like a household name, and all of them sucked. Apart
Actually,
from the guitarist.
The guitarist and drummer were like, if I remember rightly,
Yeah.
weren't they both session musicians? They were actually both really good.
Yeah, and they did, like,
Okay.
basically most of everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Actually, scratch that.
Oh, never mind the bollocks. The guitarist, I wish I could remember his name. He did play the bass parts because Sid Vicious was
was
too
in
busy
hospital.
having hepatitis.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, and, like, it's a real big thing in punk of just, like, really simple stuff or, like, bad stuff. And it's just, like, who cares? It's
If you can play power chords, you can be in a band.
Yeah. And even then, even if you can't, fucking be in a band if you want to be in a band. Fucking do it.
Yeah, just find some vaguely like-minded people and then just stick at it for a bit.
Yeah.
Is, I guess, the only advice I can give.
Yeah.
And then one day you can be in a band for over 10 years and get nowhere just like us.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say we haven't got anywhere. We do have a song about lobsters.
It's true. Okay, next up. You've inspired me to get into... So this is all the same person. You've inspired me to get into 40k.
We're sorry.
But I'm not sure where to start. They've never played before. So for a beginner, do you suggest either slowly building up an army but aiming to get the whole army, or starting with something like getting a kill team squad as a sort of starter and then moving up from them?
That would probably be a decent way of starting, considering then you just have, like, a squad to paint.
Yeah, and then you could see how you feel.
But Kill Team, though it does use a variant of 8th edition's rules, it is its own rule set, so it is not the same game on kind of a fundamental level.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you want out of it, really. However, these days you can make a perfectly functional small army quite easily. The start collecting boxes.
They are actually quite good value for money.
Yeah, which I think are like £55.
Yeah, which sounds like a lot, but that's not that much in this hobby. Let me
No.
let me tell you. But for like a functional kind of like, it's all there. The start collecting boxes are actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, you won't have like a battle forged army, which is the like armies that you'd use in a competitive setting, but you can have ones for just open play. I think the start collecting boxes are probably about 400-ish points, maybe.
Which is a nice size for learning.
Yeah. Or failing that, you do of course have the little introductory sets. I think First Strike is the smallest one, and I think that's £25. It's probably a bit more expensive now.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure if they still make it. I hope they do. But that was like a little introductory one that comes with a little bit of like basic. I think it was like cardboard terrain and a little board and a small squad of, I think it was Reavers maybe, and some Death Guard and stuff. And yeah, there's plenty of ways to start off these days, I think.
Yeah, you've got a lot more options than you used to.
And it really depends on what you want, because like you can buy like those starter sets, but if you don't want to collect Space Marines or Death Guard, if you like are super into Eldar or super into Necrons, then it's kind of you are in a way sort of wasting your money a little bit by buying models if you're not interested in them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like it's like getting a tattoo. You've got to just get what you want. Sod it all.
Yeah, although maybe don't start playing Imperial Knights, because that means your outlay is like 90 odd quid.
Well, I mean, if you've got the disposable income for it, by all means, start with Imperial Knights if you feel.
Oh yeah, but just that's quite an expensive way to find out if you're going to be into a hobby.
Yeah. I'm feeling that like if you want to just have a test with things, get somebody on like what's the word? On Tabletop Simulator. Because they have a lot of models in there, and you can, if you want to try out an army, we've done this, have like a dry run with basically like the stats for that.
Yeah.
Just give it a go. And if you feel that maybe that's not how you want to play it, then have a look for a different army. But yeah, that's my advice.
But yeah, start with Kill Team if you want, but it is a slightly different game, and I can't say for certain, but I can't guarantee that like a squad that works for Kill Team is necessarily going to be a squad that works well for the full game. Yeah. So
also, don't be afraid to go into your local GW or Warhammer, as it's now known, and just ask for a game.
Yeah,
they'll happily play a game with you, provided it's like not super busy.
Yeah, and that can be a good way of like figuring out if you want to get into the more main game or you want to get into Kill Team specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I hope that was vaguely useful.
Or coherent.
Okay, good. Right, there's 3 more questions.
Okay.
So I'll just go quick fire through these before we get on to someone else. Husbando/waifu ratings, please, of a big long list of Overwatch characters, which we've probably mostly discussed
McCree, for Husbando, just hands down wins every single time. And for waifu, I'm gonna go with Zarya, or like I'm gonna go with Zarya because she could kill me, and I'm super into that. That's cool. What about you, Wibble It?
But I was going to move on because I'm sure we've done many Overwatch people many times.
Okay.
I think we have.
So what I was doing was skipping through that, and then it was a big long list of Overwatch characters. And Jeff Goldblum.
Well, Jeff Goldblum is both the ultimate husbando and all waifu, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's...
But he's not a character in Overwatch, so
He
McQueen
could
still
be.
wins. He's not yet.
Yeah, he probably is. He's probably most characters in Overwatch, if he wanted to be.
If he wanted to be, but he isn't yet. Not officially.
He's Hammond's hidden ultimate. No one's found it yet.
He just comes out and goes,
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Excellent husband waifu.
Yes.
husbandifu.
Snipe.
Yes.
Quick anime suggestions.
Okay. You want me to suggest anime?
Yeah, what are your favourites at the moment?
Okay, Ore wa Monogatari, or My Love Story, is amazing. I honestly love that anime so much because it's like it is a romance anime, and it doesn't fall into any of the irritating trappings of romance media. You know, where like there's little bits here and there, but it's not like, oh, these two characters feel something for each other, and they're gonna be like, it's gonna be a will they won't they for like 2 seasons. I fucking hate that. That's the worst. You know what I mean? Or they keep getting into arguments, but it's just a misunderstanding because one of them was doing something nice, like baking a cake. Yeah, it's not like that, and it's just a really sweet, feel-good anime. It's really lovely. And the main character, Takeo, is amazing, and his mum is my fucking hero. She is so cool. She's an ex-wrestler.
Okay.
Like, and she's just this solid fucking, like, Japanese woman. Like, it's like when she was in labor with her son, Takeo, she literally picked up another woman who was also in labor and carried her to the delivery room. She's just so fucking amazing.
You know, I actually realise, because you're talking about this, of like... So there was a tweet that went around that I think is very accurate, which is, you know... it was like a happy face of Mario and a sad face of Mario, which is like, oh, wanting to recommend an anime, but then remembering that one scene.
Hello, Berserk.
You know, the bits in those that tend to get very tropey into things that, you know, maybe the anime community should probably maybe take a little bit of a more critical eye on. And I remembered, you know what the perfect anime is?
My Love Story.
Mob Psycho 100. It is like if you want an action kind of anime, and it's one that has no elements that make you go.
Well, I mean, there's no real elements in My Love Story.
But I mean, like one that is like kind of
an action
anime. Like,
yeah.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, yes, that is just kind of a nice, pure story where you know, there's villains, there's bad things happen, there's good things happen, and it's just cool.
Yeah.
Mob Psycho 100 is great. I still need to watch the rest of season 2. So.
Yeah, no, we do. And the other one is A Silent Voice, which is, honestly, as a lowercase d deaf person, is one of my favourite animes ever. It's an anime movie about a little shithead kid who picks on this girl at school who's deaf. And it's kind of following him as an adult, and he's stopped being a complete bastard and feels a lot of guilt and shame for what he put the poor girl through. And it's just like kind of like, I'm not going to spoil it, but like it's a really sweet moment because he learns sign language because he just feels so horrible. And like there's a couple of things of like, you know how, oh, this person's story is so pure that when people were bullying them, they didn't do anything. You know, that weird kind of trope that is present.
Yeah.
And I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying that there's literally a part in it where some girl is just smacking the shit out of her, and she's like, "Oh, please don't." And it's like, but like apart from that one little bit, it's a really sweet movie, and it's. You know, it's kind of nice to see deaf people not looked at like they're some kind of freak.
Yeah.
It's cool.
No, I get that.
Yeah, it reminded me, I've been reading a manga, which I actually quite like, that's about a guy, it's kind of like like set in an MMO, but it's not.
Oh,
They
that whole thing,
They just have stats. And this guy's like,
Okay.
his stats have been plummeting. Like every time he like does damage, his stats plummet. So like if he casts even one more spell, he'll basically die.
Okay.
So he has to just quit adventuring. And it's quite fun, it's quite cute. And it's called, I'm a middle-aged man who got my adventurer license revoked, but I'm enjoying a carefree lifestyle because I have an adorable daughter now.
Yes. All right, fine.
You know when you sit there and you go, is that too long to make it the podcast title?
I hope not. Oh, there was another one which is like, treating a knight who's never been treated like a woman in her entire life, even growing up in the boarding school as a female for the first time and watching her become a beautiful woman. It's like this big, I'm like, I'm sorry, fucking what?
What's
What's that about?
Brevity is the soul of wit.
Nah.
Shakespeare
fine.
doesn't know what he's fucking talking about.
Yeah.
I hope it was Shakespeare that said that.
Yeah.
Because that would be
talking about.
That would be a good reference to an actual literary figure for once from me.
But no, I mean I haven't got through too many chapters of I'm a middle-aged man who got my adventurer license revoked, but I'm enjoying a carefree lifestyle because I have an adorable daughter now. But I'm gonna say
Hang on, just wait.
Thank you.
Carry on.
But I will say that I find I'm a middle-aged man who got my adventurer license revoked, but I'm enjoying a carefree lifestyle because I have a daughter now. Quite heartwarming.
Adorable daughter.
That's what I said. I have an adorable daughter now.
You didn't say adorable.
Yeah, I did.
I'm going to call you out.
Fuck off.
Live on Twitch.
Okay, do you want to go stream then?
Live on Twitch, not live on SoundCloud.
Okay. But regardless, I know it's not an anime, but I can heartily recommend I'm a middle-aged man who got my adventurer license revoked, but I'm enjoying a carefree lifestyle because I have an adorable daughter now. Very nice. Hopefully
Okay,
it
good,
won't
man.
be like, it won't have that one scene, because it's like a 35-year-old guy walking, like who's basically taken a, 10-year-old girl into his care, because she's just got, no family or anything. And it's got these really cute kind of moments where he's trying to relate to her. And because they're traveling, and it's basically kind of like soft D&D kind of rules. So he's basically like, let's just say that we're father and daughter. And she's like, that makes me happy. And I'm like, please, don't ruin this, Japan. This is really heartwarming.
Do you remember when there was supposed to be quickfire questions?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, very last of these questions before we move on to the others. Long question, I'm expecting quick answers. I've ordered the Firefly Adventures board game from a hobby store near my university. When I was filling in the order form, they made it very clear that I only have to pay for the board game when it arrives and I collect it, and wasn't obliged to collect it if I didn't want it. It's been a while since I ordered it, and a couple of weeks after the owner guessed it might be there. Should I patiently wait and support the hobby shop I'm going to frequent the most, or should I order it from another shop for slightly cheaper and see which one arrives first? I reckon
I'd go for the local
in and
shop.
have go and have a chat to the owner and say, look, what
Do you price
timescale do you
match?
think it's going to be? Oh yeah, that's worth
You could just
checking
go,
as well.
look, I want to support your business, but I can get it cheaper here. You could do that if you wanted to be a little bit cheeky. But yeah, I think it involves just having a word with them.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, when do you think it's going to arrive? And then after they've said something, go. Okay, well, if it hasn't arrived by then, maybe I might have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just to give them a bit of because if you're going to go back there, you want to stay on good terms with them.
Yeah. So don't be like, not that I'm thinking they would be a jerk, but
No.
yeah. So yeah, that's
But yeah, go and give them a chance. But I think just go and have a chat as well. It's probably worth it if it's local enough for you just to pop in.
Yeah.
Or give them a ring or email or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds like a sensible way of doing it.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's always frustrating when you've ordered something and you have to wait and you're like, oh, but do I do somewhere else? Or
Yeah.
But
No, I get you.
they also sent some doggo pics, which I put up on Twitter if I remember.
You
on Monday.
never remember.
I have remembered for the last many times.
Bullshit.
To be fair. But anyway, thanks, River. That's all of your
Yes,
questions.
thank you very much.
thank you.
And thank you for the
Right.
for the email
Yes,
as well. It
thank
was very
you.
nice.
Thank you.
Moving on. Zingbo. This is another question about the band.
Oh, good lord.
So sorry if someone isn't into music and doesn't care that we have a band.
Yeah, if you're a fucking meanie butt.
Doesn't like Scar like
So-
most people.
Yeah, most people. So yeah, there's a bunch of questions that are all linked. So it's stuff like, how did the band get together? Were you friends before, or did you become friends through being in the band? And then how did you settle on the style and genre you started playing?
Oh, okay, let me see if I can quickfire this. Give me a minute. Wib and I were dating. The original singer/lead guitarist was Rick, which Wib worked with. We got drummer Matt in because he was a friend of Rick's. We became friends then. Rick left the band. We got Dicko in. We became friends. Then Dicko was friends with Zoe, who we got in as our saxophonist. Ben, I don't fucking remember where he came from. Where the fuck did Ben come from?
I think probably notice board.
I think he was a notice board. To be fair, we got Dicko from a notice board.
Yeah,
got
Dicko was a notice board. Yeah. And you and our first trumpet player.
Was he was from a notice board?
He was from a notice board.
Yeah.
Yeah, just at where we practiced, there was someone saying, band wanted sort of poster.
Yeah. Or like trumpet player available kind of thing.
Yeah.
We didn't when we were playing with Rick, we were kind of Rick wanted to take the band in a more emo kind of like
pop punk
direction. We weren't really into that.
And I was the token scarhead who kept trying to sneak it in, and because I was the one writing a lot of stuff, I could sneak it in. Before joining this band, I hadn't really ever listened to ska music beyond, there are a couple of tracks in like video game soundtracks or what have you. It's Superman by Goldfinger. Let's just be straight up.
Yeah, basically. And I didn't not like it, and I enjoyed it, but I'd never listened to an album or even adventured anywhere into any ska stuff. I was apparently a sheltered child.
I'm still not a massive ska fan. It's fine. Yeah. But so when Rick left, because Wib had full control of
there was no one to tell me no!
Yeah, so Wib was writing basically all of the guitar stuff, and he just put skanking in everything, so we were like, shit, guess we're a ska band now. Let's get some horns.
Because our very, very first EP, which wasn't ever really released,
thank God,
has 4 tracks of it, and one of them wasn't really finished, and we didn't even finish recording it, but it was just called the Ska Song.
Yeah.
Because we weren't a ska band, and then we had a song that was
and
vaguely ska-y, right?
He just kept barreling us towards ska.
Well, it was just
and we're like, that's fine.
And then we all got better.
Yeah.
At accepting it. We became better people and became ska.
I like playing ska because I actually have something to do on the bass.
Yeah, if you play in a pop punk band on bass,
Yeah, that's why I wasn't a massive fan of the band when we were first in it, because it was literally just, could you just follow along with the guitar? And I'm like, I could. Yeah. But then, that's I think that's.
Was
all
there any
questions? Anything else? Did I miss?
No, that sums it. That sums it up.
Okay.
No, that's good. Next up, Orion Faltress.
Good name.
Dear melted Matt, sweltering Snipe, and warm Wib.
Yep, that's pretty fucking accurate right now.
I'm kind of upset it's not moist Matt.
Oh yeah, moist Matt. I am quite moist at the moment. I can just feel at a rate of multiple drips per second, sweat drops forming on my body and dripping down.
Lovely.
Which is fun. Anyway, congratulations! You've managed to receive the fabled blank check from Games Workshop HQ. GW have noticed that recent video games are focused on the old world of Warhammer. They would like you to use the blank check to design a game set in the new Age of Sigmar setting. What do you make? Snipe, you're the writer of Age of Sigmar.
So I would basically make it Mass Effect, but instead of going out and exploring everything, you go out and you meet Kruber, and then you do lots of kissing with him.
But he's from the old world.
No, but he's in this one.
Okay.
Because he's a Stormcast Eternal, because he was a badass. And then you just do a bunch of kissing with him, and it's amazing. And I literally just put everything into butt capture. So when he walks or does sex, his butt jiggles in a very realistic fashions. I'd have them developing new shaders so you could see his perfectly hairy body glistening in the candlelight.
Snipe, my dear.
Yes, darling.
My wondrous whatever you are. Would you mind if I gave an answer that is 50% more serious than yours?
Oh, I'm fucking serious, honey.
I know you're serious, but one that could actually happen.
It could. They've just given me a blank check.
I haven't played much Age of Sigmar, but do they have spaceships?
They do not.
No. Do they have characters who aren't in the Age of Sigmar setting?
Well, okay.
So to make your perfect Age of Sigmar game, Snipe, you've taken 2 things not from the Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
I didn't say spaceships. I just want, it's gonna be, sailing,
They do travel between realms because Age of Sigmar's got kind of a Yggdrasil sort of multiple levels.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
reality
And it'll
sort of
have
thing.
like the hub will be like in your boat, and it'll be like a Spelljammer ship from D&D, and you can just like fly off places.
Okay.
And basically, it's just for scenery as you bang Kruber.
Okay.
Which I think would be really nice.
It's basically,
and like
you're the one who's made that fucking porn hidden object game, and it's just Kruber, isn't it?
No, that would be very silly. I didn't just buy a game making bit of software or anything.
I'm gonna give my answer now, okay?
Okay. Still think one's the best.
I know very little about Age of Sigmar, but what I do know is that there is a character called Hamilcar Bear-Eater who yells his own name whilst launching himself.
Does he
at
just go,
people.
Hamilcar?
Yes.
Bear! So did he eat a bear?
I think so.
Oh no, he ate a bear! So what you should do is have like a Mass Effect style game where you have Hamilcar Bear-Eater, and you just can dress him up in... You could, he has. No. He like his sex scene starts with him lying on a bearskin rug.
Okay, can I say words, please?
I mean, I don't know. Can you?
Yes, I can, but I'm wondering if I can have an access point to be able to put forth my words.
You should know me by now.
I want a game that's like a character action game with Hamilcar, where you just launch at people, screaming his own name.
Is there a button to scream his own name?
Yes, there is definitely a button, and maybe you might eat a bear at some point.
Okay, so take this to Devolver Digital, because they'll do it.
Yes. Yes.
They will if they haven't got a game like that already.
He is all I remember about the actual lore of Age of Sigmar, because he's Saxton Hale in Warhammer, basically. So, yeah, that's what I want. I want a Hamilcar game.
It's like, hold on there, this Ogren, I like this Ogren's pepper sauce.
What would you do, Matthew?
Honestly, like...
He's going to agree with me, because he's a man of taste.
I will... Well, those both sound excellent. I don't have any better suggestions, purely because... No, if you play Age of Sigmar and you enjoy it, that's fine. But to me, I really enjoyed Warhammer. Like, old world setting Warhammer. And to me, the Age of Sigmar is just... They've taken everything that made Warhammer Fantasy... interesting and different to 40k, taking it all out, and now it's just boring 40k.
Okay, so as the sole writer, editor, and rules maker of Age of Sigmar, that hurts to hear.
Yeah,
but
I'm
glad you feel secure enough friendship to tell me.
I'm not saying it's bad, and I'm not judging anyone who likes it, and I would really like to like it. But I liked all the the weird old tech and the weird rat people and the weird you have solid blocks of armies, which made it different to play compared to 40k. Whereas now it's there's no units in the same way anymore, blocky units, and there's no. They're stopping making a lot of the interesting old Dwarven and Empire techie gun weird that sort of stuff, and now it's just sort of I don't know. It's just kind of like 40k.
Well,
now,
I mean, your criticism has been noted, and I will try and get something out that maybe you'll like.
I think I'd judge it less if they didn't take away the old thing, and not that I played it for a while anyway, so I can't really judge anything anyway.
And I mean, that's the reason, is because everyone did what you did and stopped playing.
Well, I would have loved to keep playing it. I'd love to keep playing it now, but no one else did. That was the problem. So I can see why they did it, and fine, but I just don't see the point.
I will say, Age of Sigmar's model line is fucking amazing these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the quality really cool of it
stuff.
Is really
do they have things that are less shit than the Eternal people that are just shit space marines?
The Sigmarines, don't be rude.
Yes,
and everyone uses that one head to make models of me, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah, there is one particular one with a side-shaved head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. But no, yeah. I especially like the Nighthaunt. Really
the Nighthaunt
cool,
are fucking rad.
Who are all ghosts. And
you can have Boob Armor Tick Ghosts as well.
Boob Armor Tick Ghosts.
Boob Armor Tick Ghosts are pretty good, and then you have the Ideneth Deepkin, which are fine. But I like
the Octopus
has a knife, so that's fine. That's that army.
Daughters of Cain are pretty rad too.
Mm-hmm. I've written some really good stuff, honestly. If I do say so myself.
You started off a bit hairy, but I'll forgive you if you get better.
I started off hairy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really the way it works. We all kind of get more hairy as we get older.
Okay. So, next up, Bioman. First off is a sci-fi recommendation for Wib, which I assume you've already watched, seeing as it is a sci-fi show from the 90s.
What, is it Space Above and Beyond?
No, Babylon 5.
I have not watched enough of it, honestly. I think
God,
I've only
Babylon 5.
seen like the first season
I
or
was
so
thinking
of it.
of Andromeda, and my brain just
Oh,
had
no. No, the difference between Babylon 5 and Andromeda is that Babylon 5 is good
Yeah.
and doesn't contain Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, he is such a prick.
And doesn't contain pube-covered bats as an enemy race.
Pubits.
The pubits.
Pubits.
Yes, Babylon 5 is in my long list of things to actually watch all the way through. I've seen enough of it to know that, yes, it is quite good. Although the CGI has not aged well, because I think it's one of the first big sci-fis to use CGI for all of its ships.
Uh-oh.
And it's done in the mid-90s, and it looks like it.
Okay.
Fair. Bioman's question. What's the best way to integrate yourself into a pre-existing internet community as someone who's been a serial lurker?
I just say, because I, as a fellow serial lurker, hypothetically, it's like when you do start sticking your head out and going hi and trying to get involved in conversations, people might not super pay that much attention to you, but you just got to keep at it. That's the problem.
Yeah,
you just got to keep, like, if someone's like, oh, hi everyone, how's everyone doing? And you've got to kind of jump in and go, yes, I'm fine, thank you, how about yourself? And then you've just got to kind of slowly, up your contact levels. I'm talking as if this is chemistry.
Yeah, you do. You just start. Unfortunately, it is the
You
answer.
literally
Is you
just have to walk in and go, hi.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel super awkward and shy when you do that. But, like, you just need to kind of go, hi everyone, I'm here and I will talk to you.
Yeah, just when, like, say...
Because annoyingly, like, I had to figure this out multiple times myself. People won't just talk to you for no reason. It's annoying and it sucks.
Alternately, just make videos for, like, 7 years until people can't ignore you.
That's the long game plan.
That's the long game plan, because then people start talking to you and the awkwardness is slightly less.
Yeah, or introduce yourself as well, depending on the community and how they do that.
Yeah, it is unfortunately something with no tricks. It's just, you just got to start talking to people.
That's why it's the worst.
Yeah, absolute worst. Okay, good. Next up, Althalin.
Hello.
So, a couple of recommendations first. So, I know you've collectively mentioned before wanting to play one of the 40k tabletop RPGs.
Yes.
So they say Wrath and Glory, being the most recent and shiniest, is definitely worthwhile. If you're looking for something that may be more suited for a high casualty one-shot, I'd definitely recommend checking out Dark Heresy 2nd edition.
Okay.
Cool.
So, recommendations. I'm sure we'll at one point get around to playing a 40k RPG. I have no idea when.
We're having trouble getting around to playing standard D&D
Yeah.
right now, but yeah.
Their question, have you considered hosting a community game event? So something wherein people can play multiplayer games against you, sort of
We've
thing,
had
remotely.
a couple of those in the past. And honestly, the trickiest part is just finding games to play with people.
Because we've played Space Marine a couple of times, because it's one of the things that a lot of people have.
But that's like a maximum of like 7 players, including one of us. So there's like eight. There's like 4 people each side. Well, there's more, isn't there?
Yeah, no, it's like 16 players.
Okay, but yeah, it's like, whatever. But yeah, we've done a lot. We've done it in the past. We do mean to kind of do more, but it is incredibly taxing, and it is a huge amount of effort to organise. And
I think there is like the whole thing of that these things, they do take a bit of effort, and as you've probably worked out, we're a little bit socially awkward, so these things are kind of awkward to kind of get sorted, because it takes a lot of like mental space to do, and we end up like missing out on making video shit to do something like that. So yeah,
it's a tricky one.
Some people in the community do occasionally organise them though, which we're very grateful of.
Yeah.
Which we occasionally saunter in on. It's usually Space Marine. I think that's the problem. It's just there's so much. It's kind of hard to get like a specific game together.
Yeah, because if it's any
for a
bigger,
large group
like
of
something
people.
like a TF2 server, like we can't just have our own server. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's just a tricky one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Next up, nearly at the end, Agent Sinister.
Hello.
For someone who's inexperienced in painting miniatures, do you have any recommendations for doing small details? You know, sort of eyes in helmets, for example, and that sort of, you know.
I would say when it comes to eyes, don't ever point them forward, always have them looking to the side.
Yeah, that's
Because it's really hard getting them symmetrical, facing like straight on.
Yeah.
But it's actually a hell of a lot easier and more forgiving if you just have them looking to the side a little bit.
Although I think from the thing there, it's more about like painting the eye lenses on helmets.
Oh, I've no fucking clue.
Yeah, and just small details in general.
What I tend to do with small details is that I will give a base coat of the surrounding area for whatever colour that needs to be. And then I'll go in and do the small detail, but not worry too much if I start covering the outside area. Like, say if you're doing like a Space Marine helmet, for the easiest example, like say you're painting a red eye lens, is to paint the eye lens and not worry how neat it is, because then I can go in and neaten it up afterwards, because I haven't done the surrounding area. Like, I'll do the eye first and then work outwards from that. That's how I tend to do like fine detail stuff, is to make sure that I'm not going to, if I can't be super neat with it, that I'm not going to be damaging the area around it, because I haven't done that area yet, to sort of move outwards from those bits. That's how I do it. But it is just it's a learned skill. Just try and get a nice point on your brush. Don't get too much paint on it.
Hold your breath. Not too long.
You do have a problem holding your breath for an absurd amount of time while painting fine details. But yeah, and just
sticking your tongue out usually helps for me.
Okay, that's a good tip. That's good.
It's honestly just trial and error, figuring out what works for you, and just do the basic things of just don't have too much paint on your brush, and don't use a big brush while doing it. Use the smallest one you've got, and just go slow. Don't worry about getting it right first time, because you can neaten it up afterwards. Would be my sort of general point.
And the really boring answer that I want to say is, as with a lot of these things, just keep doing it.
Yeah, just
eventually you'll be good at it, and you won't notice that you're good at it, and then suddenly you'll look at your the most recent model compared to your first. You're like, shit, I got good.
Yeah. That's
a
a point. If you're coming back into the country soon, how much longer until you start, getting a new army?
Not long, because I'm coming back into the country in, as of recording, less than a month.
Yeah.
Which is mildly terrifying.
Are you going to carry on with your Tau, or are you going to do something new?
I want to finish off my Tau army, or at least I want to finish off the ones I've got that I might use, and I want to buy one of the big dudes that we played a lot with Tabletop Simulator.
Storm Surge.
I don't know which. Storm Surge or something. One of the big ones to do.
Yeah.
Once I've done that, I do want to get a second army. I was eyeing up. Well, now I need your. I feel like I need your permission, Snipe, because I've been eyeing up. I think I mentioned on the podcast before. I've been eyeing up the Gene Stealer cult models.
Okay.
But they are still technically like a Tyranid army, sort
It's
of.
okay.
And if you've just started one, that feels a little bit.
You have my explicit permission.
Plus, Gene Stealer cults are radically different in how they play.
They are.
Especially how they play compared to. I really like the idea of doing one without any of the weird. I just like doing them as a weird offshoot of, because I've wanted a guard army for ages as well, but it's too close to a Tau army. I know there's big differences, but pretty shitty troops with quite a lot of them with some big things with big guns on.
Yeah.
Very broadly speaking, they're quite similar. But I feel like this one sort of ticks a box of being enough different, and I'll just have like a very vehicle-based one.
No, dude, that sounds really cool, and I'd really like to see it.
Not really have any, or I haven't really looked into it, but not have much, especially in the way of the actual, more mutated dudes, and just have it as like a sort of,
an early stage,
Yeah, really early stage, but they've been kicked out of the Imperium for whatever reason, I haven't really thought about fluff-wise yet.
But that does sound super cool.
But something like that.
Yeah. No.
And I'm moving back, and Ruth's not joining me for at least a few months because she's still working here for a bit.
She can't stop you.
And I can't take my gaming. Because I'm coming back. But I'm moving back to the UK by train because I get more luggage by train than I do by plane. But that's still not a lot. It's still like one big suitcase and a small bag to move all of my stuff back. Which means I can't bring my gaming computer because that's approximately the size of two of me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to want something to do in the evenings. So I feel like that's the point when I get...
during your refractory period, you just start painting some models,
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to make it gross.
Yeah. Yeah, but... Not long before I can actually get back into painting something, which would be nice because I've just not had any 40k stuff over here.
You can come over if you want to stay for like a weekend or whatever, and we can just have like a big painting kind of thing, and then we can go to Warhammer World if you want.
And I mean, we've got
Yeah.
like 5 fucking armies these days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So we need all the help we can get with painting.
Nice. Yeah, very last question then. So, Geistertans,
Hello.
which is... I asked Ruth to translate, and it's something like ghostly dance, or dance of a ghost, or something.
Oh, okay.
Or something. It's something like that. I can't... No, neither did I, but I was like, hang on, it's German. Ruth, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Or something like that. I've probably translated that really badly.
Oh, don't
but
worry.
I just never really...
Geistertans will email you and tell you that you're terrible and wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. I might be wrong. I didn't check with them as to what it meant, so I'm implying meaning onto the name. But I just didn't even think about translating it until I was just like, hang on. But anyway, the question is, if you could play as animal characters in a D&D session, so either your characters get turned into animals or you play like the critters of a magical forest, what
Werewolf.
animal / class would your character be?
Werewolf.
For example, they would say a raven rogue or an owl wizard.
That would be really cool. I'd be a werewolf.
You can't be a werewolf because a werewolf isn't an animal. It's a mythical
No,
creature.
you'd be a wolf.
You can be a wolf.
I'd be a wolf
You
paladin.
can be a werewolf in normal D&D.
Or I'd be a wolflock.
A wolf werlock.
Wolflock.
A wolflock.
Wolflock, okay.
A woo, Eldritch Blast. That's my best Ford. No, it's my best Caleb impersonating Ford.
I don't know why, but my head has suddenly been filled with the idea of having an otter rogue. And I don't know why, but that just seems really fun
Because
to
then
me.
if anyone accuses
Otter
you
rogue
of
would be great.
pickpocketing, you can go, that's utterly ridiculous. And then they'll be like, we're fucking clamping you in irons, and then you
Right,
can be
I'm sorry.
executed. It'd be horrible, actually.
I don't know why I have that draw to that, but I'm going to go with that.
Okay. I want to be a cockatoo bard.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yes!
You win.
I'm just
You win the podcast.
Yeah, I win the podcast. Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody.
Would you look like that picture you've got on your phone of the cockatoo wearing sunglasses?
Yeah. But I'd also have like a lute just hanging off me.
What would you be, Matt?
I feel like a cat sorcerer would be good because cats are kind of dicks and sorcerers have a propensity to be kind of dicks.
That's
so
fair. That's
I feel
fair.
like just a cat sorcerer who just like shoots magic off at basically anything, and you know the sorcerers, cats just knock things off tables for no reason, and sorcerers kind of do the same thing.
But with fireballs.
I'm really desperately trying to figure out a pun based on a saucer of milk, but I just can't get it.
Sorcerer, yeah. There's something there.
Milk,
and
cat
people who are better than
sorcerer.
us. Yeah.
Their
something
See,
name
I
is-
was just going to be like, roll initiative, right? Meow.
yeah. Okay, you lost the podcast. It's
No!
over.
I was so... No.
I know right now you're thinking, how dare he say something like that, but
God fucking damn it. It's like I was going to do that, but then Wib came in and he's so fast, he's like pasteurized before I can even fucking say anything. Don't have
we
a cow.
just need to go. We just need to
Yeah.
stop this.
That's the end of the questions, end of the podcast.
Okay, literally that's it. That's the last
Welcome
episode.
back, me. Look what I did.
Yay, I'm a cockatoo bard now.
Yep.
I really want that character, actually. I'll just be a Kenku that was literally raised
There's-
in some place where, like,
Well, there's another type of bird race that doesn't have the.
the Krakoa? Arakoa? Can't remember.
It's where
Yeah,
WoW
that's it.
stole their bird people from.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just
It's
be
quite often banned in official things because you can fly right from the beginning, and that's just far too overpowered.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it that I can't fly because I tried to cut
But
my
no, just
own,
for official
like,
things. Like if
hair.
we were playing it, that'd be fine because it's
You
fun.
can have one that's afraid of
That's the whole
heights.
point.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So it's just like, why don't
They
you fly
can
up
fly,
there?
but they choose not to.
Like, okay, why is she just scream? And then when I get angry, I'll be like that angry cockatoo called George, who, when their owner was like, "We're going to the vet," he had a tantrum, and went and had like, 'cause you know how
Is this
birds
a
like
YouTube video we're talking about?
Yeah, he like does
Okay.
big stamps and goes into the closet and goes and just muttering angrily under his breath, like walking around stamping. And it's like, George, we need to go to the vet. And he stops, he looks up, and he goes and just carries on having a tantrum. I'll just be like that.
Okay.
That's basically
Okay.
me anyway. I remember. Do you remember, Matt? Remember?
You don't like going to the vet.
Remember when I sent you that gif of the lady with a cockatoo on her shoulder who had a pen that was wiggling around and just started smacking her in the head repeatedly? And I was like, I love cockatoos because they do things like this. And you were quiet for a second and went, you do realise that you're just a cockatoo. And I was like, shit, my life makes sense now. So yeah, I'm going to be a cockatoo bard. That sounds amazing. Okay, thank you for joining us. I'm going to go roll up a cockatoo bard.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, and welcome back, Drummer Matt. Yay.
Welcome back and goodbye.
Bye.